Hey guys, I'm in my kitchen today. I need to stop listening to true crime so I can concentrate. But I ordered this big box of peaches. One of my friend's kids were doing this as a fundraiser. So I figured I could support her daughter, but at the same time get some things done. This box was full. We've literally eaten half of these peaches in like 2 days. Like, they are so good. But my original plan was I was gonna can like sliced peaches for to keep for like pies or eating or whatever. But they're really kind of overripe, which is the best for fresh eating, but not the best for canning, because canning something will always make it more mushy. So if they're already mushy, it would just be like goo when you dumped it back out. So, change of plans. It's fine. These aren't going to go to waste. I'm still going to use them, but I'm going to turn them into peach jam instead. I've got the jars sterilizing and a pot of water, and I'm just going to get my ball canning book, and I already marked the page, and I'm just going to follow the quick cook jam recipe for peach jam. So the first step is I'm going to pull the jars out of the boiling water, and then what you're going to want to do to remove the skins of the peaches, the easiest, you can always peel them like with a knife, but if you drop them in a pot of boiling water for about 30 seconds to a minute, the skin slips right off, and I don't have to sit there and peel all these peaches. So that's the first step.
Me too.
You want to help?
Yeah. Those was going to burn.
Now, my recipe that I'm probably going to double calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, but since I'm doubling it, I'm going to use 4 tablespoons, which is a 1/4 cup. Let me Google that before I tell everybody. How many tablespoons is in 1/4 cup? I was right. So, as I'm chopping them, which I'm chopping them very fine, you can see right here, I'm gonna put them in the bowl that already has the lemon juice in there, and that will keep them from turning brown. And then after each peach, I'll just give them a little shake to get coated in the lemon juice, and that'll keep them from turning brown. The ones that have a bad spot on them, I am just going to cut the bad spot off and peel it with a knife. The rest I'll probably dip into the water because that seems like the fastest option. Okay, so I've got my big pot of boiling water that I'm going to drop the peaches into, and then you have a bowl of ice water, so when you take them out, you plunge them in the ice water, and that stops it from cooking the peach. You can do 3 or 4 peaches at a time. I don't want to burn myself, so I'm going to drop them in and scoop them out with this little mesh strainer. Alexa, set a timer for 45 seconds.
45 seconds.
No, I can't reach the other ones.
They're too deep.
Because they sunk all the way to the bottom. I don't think I need this much water in here. I'm gonna overflow. One thing about me is that I'm always messy. Okay, and then after they've sat in the ice water for just a few seconds, you can see that their skin slips right off. Now, if the skin doesn't come off very easily, put them back in. You didn't do it long enough, but it should just peel right off. If you've ever peeled tomato skins off this way, it's the exact same thing, exact same process. I've got all the peaches out and peeled, and now I'm going to chop them up into about 1/4 inch pieces and fill my bowl. To save you the monotony of watching me chop things for 10 minutes, I'll let you fast forward while I turn on true crime. Just relax. I already forgot to say something, so like I said in the beginning, take this with a grain of salt, follow your own recipe. But I'm supposed to be measuring, so I know, because when you can things, you have to be specific about the ratios of things so that it's safe and things don't grow inside the jar. So I have to know exactly how many cups of peaches I have so that I know how much lemon juice to add. Just wanted to put that in there. I'm back. It has been a day. I started this in the morning. It is now a little after 2 o'clock. I had to go get sugar. The recipe in my book calls for 4 cups. I actually have 26 cups, so I'm almost multiplying it by 8. I highly underestimated the amount of sugar I would need for that. I need like 32 cups of sugar, which sounds insane, okay? But if you look at it this way, if you buy jam from the store, it has like high fructose corn syrup and crap and additives in it. And this is literally just fruit, lemon juice, and sugar. So there are worse things in the world, first of all. Second of all, it's not like you're eating this as a meal. You're like topping stuff with it. Trying to make 32 cups of sugar sound better in my mind. It's fine. It's gonna be great. We're already here. So I had put all the peaches in my big tub because I also underestimated how much that would make. So like every person in my family and everybody that I know is getting a jar of peach jam for Christmas. And that's that. So we're gonna make quite a few. I'm gonna have to pop them back in the dishwasher to heat them up because you put hot liquid, when you're canning, you put hot liquid into hot jars. If you're raw packing, like cold items, you can do room temperature jars. That's just the rule. So I'm going to get this going. Luckily, somehow, I have a whole canning cabinet that I haven't opened since about last year because I haven't canned anything besides meat, and you literally just stick meat in the jar and heat it up. But luckily I had like just the amount of pectin that I needed, and I don't know why I have this many boxes because I don't do jam or fruit that often, but luckily I had that. So the first step is you have to heat up the peaches. By the way, if you wanted a tea update, this mango tea that I bought from the Amish store the other day, delicious. 10 out of 10 recommend. Okay, the peaches are boiling. Even when stirred, that's when you know it's hot enough, is that when you're stirring it, it's still boiling. So now I'm gonna add the sugar. That was 5 pounds of sugar that I weighed out. I need 14 pounds total is what Google told me. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need a bigger bowl. Bad things have happened. I accidentally overflowed the pot onto my glass cooktop, so sugar burning on there, never coming off. Yay, I gotta get a bigger pot. Slightly bigger pot, not by much, but it's the biggest pot I own. So let's hope it works. Now that I've got burnt peach sugar on everything. Okay, so now that I'm thoroughly sweaty and everything is sticky, we're at a rolling boil. It's time to add all the pectin, and you add that and bring it back to a rolling boil for 1 minute. Okay, so you want to make sure that the pectin is really nice and stirred in, and then bring it back to a Bring it back to a rapid boil that you can't stir down. Boil for 1 minute, and then we are going to ladle into jars. Finally, we're almost done canning. My jam is finally ready to go. I'm just going to ladle it into the jars. You're gonna want a funnel. If you're anything like me, you're a hot mess disaster at all hours of the day who makes a giant mess like a toddler. So you're gonna do that first. You're gonna fill the jars to 1/4 inch headspace is what this recipe calls for. Now I have this handy dandy canning tool, and if you're a new canner or you can't judge distances like me, this will be your best friend. So each one of these steps is 1/4 inch. So if you want headspace 1/4 inch, it's the first one. 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. This will be your best friend, because if you overfill it, it won't, the liquid inside of the jar will come out and your seal will not seal. So, jam needs barely any headspace at all. Now that you've got your jars filled, and I would pick one up and show you, but it's the temperature of the sun. But, so I've checked all of these jars. They're up to 1/4 inch headspace. I have a rag with a wet corner that I used hot water on, and you are going to wipe the rim of your jar. Now you're supposed to do this with every single thing you can, but it's especially important in things like jam that used a lot of sugar. If there's any residue left on the top of the jar, it won't seal correctly. Then you just center it on your jar. You take a ring, and you're gonna screw it on what people say finger tight. Now, when you're first starting to can and you don't understand all these lingo, basically if you sat it on a washcloth, you tighten it until it starts to turn, and then you know that it's tight enough. And then I'm gonna transfer it over to my canner. I'm gonna be using a steam canner. You can steam can, or water bath can is the traditional way of canning jams and jellies. Things with high acidity that you would water bath can, you are able to steam can. My steam canner I got on Amazon. The brand's called Fruit Saver. It's got this funny looking top and like a pan bottom, but it's this tall. And when you're ready, you sit the lid on. It will vent steam out, and when there's a steady stream of steam and you're in the correct zone, you'll have to follow directions specifically for your steam canner because they're all probably a little bit different. We're gonna process these jars for 10 minutes. Okay, my canner is coming to pressure now. If you look, the video's not gonna let you, but I promise you there's steam coming out of there. And my little dial on the top is in the correct position. So now I get to say, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. My timer has gone off, and it's time to get all of these out of the canner. Moment of truth. Now I gotta get them out without... You want to try to make sure that you keep these as steady as possible, like don't tip them around too much. Now all I have to do is make sure the water level inside of my steam canner is okay and reload it. I've actually got a little bit left over in my pot that is mostly just peach sugar and not enough peach chunks for me to put in a can. So I'm gonna make a really yummy glaze for dinner tonight over some chicken. If you try this recipe and you have extra, try that too because it's gonna be delicious. But I think this is where I leave you guys for the day. I hope that you take the time to preserve your food so that in the winter you have shelves of satisfying, sometimes mostly healthy, sometimes sugar treats for your family to enjoy in those cold months when everyone just wishes they had a fresh peach. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.